Alright, welcome back. On the previous video, we created a live system via Text Mesh Pro. On this video, we're gonna do the same. We're gonna create a live system, but this time we're gonna do it with images. For this video, I created 4 PNGs. One of them shows 3 lives, the other 2, and then 1, and then 0. Here's the basic idea. Instead of our lives text objects, we want our images to be on the screen. So when the game begins, we'll start with 3 lives, and then 2, and 1, and then 0. But we'll show that with images instead of text, like we're doing right now. Since we're gonna use this for PNGs, we need to import these into our scene. Going to our project window, to our assets, let's create a new folder. Let's call it something like sprites. Yeah, sprites. Okay. Now we got to add our 4 PNGs into our sprites folder. Let's select them and then drag them into our sprites folder. There we go. Now select all 4 of these PNGs and then go to our inspector window. You'll see texture type. We need to set this not to default, but instead to sprite, 2D and UI. Then let's click apply. There we go. Now we got to create the game object that will show our sprites. So let's go to our canvas, go to UI, and then we'll add an image. So we have lives text, which we'll get rid of. So this should be called lives image. Now at the start of the game, we want our lives image object to show this image, because we're gonna start with 3 lives. So we'll display the 3 lives image. In the inspector window of our lives image, you can see that there is a slot called source image. This is where we're gonna put our sprite. So let's go to our 3 lives sprite and drag it. We can't drag it, why? Hold on. Now why can't we drag it? Oh right, sorry, I forgot about something. We need to make another adjustment to these 4 sprites. Let's select all of them again. And now we have a we have a setting called sprite mode. We'll change this from multiple to single. Alright, now let's try again. Going back to our lives image. Let's drag our 3 lives sprites into our source image. And there we go. Now let's adjust our image a little bit. Resize it, reposition it. We'll put it where our lives text is. Actually, we should delete this, because we don't need this anymore. So our lives image will be right here. That looks fine. And I want to make this just a little bit more bigger. Our image's width should not be 100, but instead let's try something like 200. Then let's make our height maybe 150. Let's see how it looks. That looks a little bit stretched. So let's try making our heights 2000, like our width. There we go, that looks better. Okay, now we need to go back to our code. We're not gonna work with our player behavior scripts in this video. It will stay as it is. but instead we'll make our adjustments into our HUD manager script. So let's open that. Now in our HUD manager script, we have our, hold on, we have our text object, we have our playtime counter, is game running variable, and then we have lives text. We don't need this, because we're not gonna display our lives in text. Instead, we're gonna display it with images. So let's delete this. We're gonna replace it a little bit later. Okay, let's replace it by writing public image and then lives image. Oh, wrong variable type. Oh, that's right. I forgot to add a library, but thankfully Visual Studio added it for me. I forgot to tell, but we're gonna need this library in our video. But anyway, let's move on. Now we're gonna add our sprites into our scene. Now for our sprites, we need to add an array. If you don't know what that is, arrays allow us to store multiple data in one variable. So multiple objects in one variable. Let's do that by writing public, then sprite. Now we need to make this an array. Then we should code something like lives sprites equals to new sprites. There are 4 sprites we need to use, so our array is gonna be the size of 4, an index of 4. Now our player loses life method is gonna be the same. I don't think we're gonna put any changes into this method. But what we're gonna change is the update lives method. Because our update lives method uses text. Instead of that, we need it to use images and sprites. So we're gonna start our changes by removing this line. And then in its place, let's start writing var current sprite equals to live sprites lives. Actually, I don't think we need to do that. Let's remove that. I think we can finish it with one line by writing lives image dot sprite. Now lives image dot sprite right here refers to our source image. Then we want our source image to be lives sprites lives. So I'll try to explain it as best as I can. Our live sprites array has an index of 4. So that makes it 3, 2, 1, and then 0. If our lives is 3, if our lives variable equals to 3, then we're gonna use the first sprite. If our lives variable equals to 2, and then we're gonna use the second. And when our lives variable equals to 0, the game ends. And we're gonna use the fourth sprite, which is 0. So let's save our script and go back to our Unity editor. We have a few variables to assign in our inspector window, so let's do that. Go to our canvas object. You can see right here. First we need to slot in or assign our lives image variable, which is our lives image object. So let's drag that in here. And then we're gonna need to assign our sprites. So beginning with 3 lives, and then 2, 1, and finally 0. I hope that's in the right order. We'll see if it is. Okay, now I think we did everything we need to do, so let's test our project to see if it works properly. Oh, nope. Hold on. We need to do it the opposite. These need to be the opposite. So starting with 0 lives, and then 1, 2, and finally we're gonna add 3. That should work. There we go. We are starting with 3 lives now. Let's collide with an obstacle. Then we drop to 2 lives. Then we drop to 2. And finally, the game ends.